Hello, fourth grade teachers and students. My name is Ben, and I'm going to be reading your P4K book today. The theme for this visit is careers. It's never too early. We're always thinking about what we want to be when we grow up, and that can be 1,016 different things. From teacher to police officer to farmer to basketball player to ballerina to plumber to I don't know. There's like so many I can't even wrap my head around it, and so there's so many different careers. And also, as part of thinking about all those careers, there are also so many different books about some of those careers. In fact, the book that I'm thinking of today that I'm going to be reading to you is not only about one of those careers, but it's also about a very special person that led one of those careers. So this person was named Duke Ellington. I wonder if some of you may know who this person was. Duke Ellington was a very, very famous musician, composer, and piano player. And let's read a little bit about him. This is Duke Ellington by Andrea Davis Pinkney. Let's do this. You ever hear of the jazz playing man? The man with the cats you could swing with his band? He was born in 1899 in Washington, D.C. Born Edward Kennedy Ellington. But wherever young Edward went, he said, "Hey, call me Duke." Duke's name fit him rightly. He was a smooth-talking, slick-stepping, piano-playing kid. But his piano playing wasn't always as breezy as his stride. When Duke's mother, Daisy, and his father, J.E., enrolled him in piano lessons, Duke didn't want to go. Baseball was Duke's idea of fun, but his parents had other notions for their child. Duke had to start with the piano basics, his fingers playing the same old tired tune, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Daisy and J.E. made Duke practice day after day. To Duke, 1 and 2 wasn't music. He called it an umpty-dump sound that was headed nowhere worth following. He quit his lessons and kissed the piano a fast goodbye. Years later, in a steamy summer night, Duke heard that Umpty Dump played in a whole new way. Folks called the music ragtime piano that turned Umpty Dump into a soul-rousing romp. The ragtime music sent Duke's fingers to wiggling. Soon he was back at the piano, trying to plunk out his own ragtime rhythm. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. At first, it was only a crude tinkling Duke knew. But with practice, all Duke's fingers rode the piano keys. Duke started to play his own made-up melodies. Whole notes, chords, sharps and flats, left-handed hops and right-handed slides. Believe it, man. Duke taught himself to press on the pearlies like nobody else could. His 1 and 2 Umpty Dumpty became a thing of the past. Now, playing the piano was Duke's all-time love. When Duke was 19, he was entertaining ladies and gents at parties, pool halls, country clubs, and cabarets. He had a fine as pie, good looks, and flashy threads. He was a ladies' man with flair to spare, and wherever a pretty-skinned beauty leaned on Duke's piano, he played his best music, composition smoother than a hairdo sleeked with pomade. It wasn't long before Duke formed his own small band, a group of musicians who played all over Washington, D.C., but soon they split the D.C. scene and made tracks for New York City, for Harlem, the place where jazz music ruled. They called themselves the Washingtonians and performed in all kinds of New York City honky-tonks, Barron's exclusives. The Plantations, Cicero's, and the Kentucky Club. Folks got to know the band by name and came to hear them play. Then, on an autumn day in 1927, Lady Luck smiled pretty on the Washingtonians. They were asked to play at the Cotton Club, Harlem's swankiest hangout, a big-time night spot. The Cotton Club became a regular gig for Duke and his band. They grew to 12 musicians and changed their name to Duke Ellington and his orchestra. Night after night they played their music, which was broadcast live over the radio. For all those home buddies out there on Radio Lovers Land, folks who only dreamed of sitting pretty at the cotton, the show helped them feel like they were out on the town. Duke's Creole love call was spicier than a pot of jambalaya. His mood indigo was a musical stream that swelled over the airwaves. Sometimes the orchestra performed their tunes straight up, but other nights, when the joint started to jump, Duke told his band to play whatever came to mind, to improvise their solos, to make the music fly. And they did. Each instrument raised its own voice. One by one, each cat took the floor and wiped it clean with its own special way of playing. Sonny Greer pounded out the bang of jump rope feet on the street with his snare drum, a subway beat on its bass drum, a sassy ride on its cymbal. Sonny's percussion was smooth and steady. Sometimes only his drumsticks made the music, cracking out the ratty beat of wood slapping wood. Along with Sonny, Joe Tricky Sam Nanton went to work on his trombone. Sliding smooth melodic gold, he stretched the notes to their full tilt, pushing and pulling in a tropical lilt. When Tricky Sam was through, he'd nod to Otto Toby Hardback. "Your turn," he'd say. "Take the floor, Daddy-O." Toby let loose on his sleek brass sax, curling with notes like a kite tail in the wind, a musical loop-de-loop with a serious twist. Last came James Bubber Miley, a one-of-a-kind horn player. He could make his trumpet wail like a man whose blues were deeper than the deep blue sea. To stir up the sound of his low moan horn, Bubber turned out to growl from way down his throat. His gut bucket tunes put a spell on the room. Yeah, those solos were kicking. Hot buttered bop with lots of sassy cool tones. When the band did their thing, the Cotton Club performers danced the Black Bottom, the Fishtail, and the Susie Q. Performers danced all over the place, and when they were cutting the rug, Duke slid his honey-colored fingertips across the ivory eights. The word on Duke and his band spread, and from New York to Macon to Kalamazoo and on to sunshiny Hollywood Hills, the whole country soon swung to Duke's beat. Once folks got a taste of Duke's soul sweet music, they hurried to record stores asking, "Yo, you got the Duke? Slide me some King of the Keys, please. Gotta play me that Piano Prince and his band." People bought Duke's records. Thousands of them. There's a lot more to Duke's career, and you know what? I don't think we're going to have time to read all of it, but I'll tell you what, Duke's career gets more and more interesting. And you know what? Even at the end, it tells more because I don't know if there's enough time. But Duke was, I listen to Duke Ellington music because I think it's really, really cool. I hope you guys have heard some of it. I bet you have and you don't even know it. But I'm so glad I got to read you at least some of the book. Teachers, now's the time where we can move on and check out some of the curriculum. Guys, I'm so glad I got to read this to you. We're really, really super excited with our next, with our curriculum for this round. It's a bunch of flashcards we have here, and it's a game called Who Am I? Basically, we take one of, our flashcards and hold it up to the kiddos. Picture side out, do not let them see the writing on the back side. Pick any one, it does not matter. I'm going to pick this one and hold it out to everyone. And we ask the kiddos, who am I? What career is this? And the kiddos can raise their hand and say which job it is. Now, ideally, for this job, they will say something to the effect of construction worker. And that's what this one is. And if you look at the back here, there are two sections. The first one is description, which is the description of the job. And the second portion is requirements. So once they get it right, or when they give something close to the correct answer, you can say absolutely. So construction workers, I'm just kind of paraphrasing from what's on the back here, are responsible for preparing tools and materials on their work site. They assist with loading and unloading of building materials. These are great jobs if you like math, working with your hands and building things. This is a great career for you. Another great portion of this job is not just the job itself, but kiddos can learn about things that I mentioned earlier. There's the requirements field here. Kids can learn about what is required of them, or things that and classes and skill that are required of them in order to get to that job or achieve those requirements. So, for example, here, graduate elementary and middle and high school must understand basic math, be able to read, must be able to use a ruler. I'll give you another example. I'm just going to pick eeny, meeny, miny. Let's use this one. Hold this up. Oh, this is a chef or cook. As a chef, proficient in food preparation, head of a kitchen, have the passion of cooking and food preparation. Requirements, graduate elementary and middle and high school. That one's there for all of them. Sometimes earn a culinary school degree or diploma. Must be creative, value cleanliness, and have good communication skills. For things like, there's a really terrific one here for NBA player. We also specify must be recruited by an NBA recruiter, write a letter expressing your interest. So we make sure that those are very, 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 very detailed. Another thing that I like about this is they are all very, very diverse. So hopefully you guys will have a great time with those, and they prompt a lot of discussion and dialogue. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much. Have a great time.